Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. We can see that the markets are moving up slightly. Bitcoin again back at 37.4, 37.5k, a bit more than a 4% upside in the last 24 hours after the strong sell-off that we did see before. And Cardano as well, a slight upside, but Cardano hardly moving at all at the moment. We saw that yesterday when we looked at the chart. Overall, generally sideways and a slight upside. Some coins are doing really well. For example, the Near protocol, we looked at Polygon, Gala is doing really well. And yeah, I'm glad that for some of them, the buy orders did trigger at lower prices, but especially Loopring here, when I bought at 85 cents, I'm really happy about, but I see this long term. I wouldn't personally take profits now, even though I do expect another sell-off. I think those were fantastic prices to get in a lot of these cryptos, and I'm happy to wait for much higher prices. Patience is key in these markets, and also we can see that obviously there was the big sell-off because of the fear or the concerns around a potential interest rate increase. Now we won't know more until later today, I guess, but I think anything they do, if it's in line with expectations, we shouldn't see a major effect on the market. If there is any volatility though, I do expect it today. Did mention yesterday that I don't expect a lot of volatility in the market yesterday, and there wasn't, because generally people and investors, I think, are waiting for the news of the Fed, and any volatility happened already here in the last few days ahead of the meeting, way ahead of the meeting. That is the sell-off that we saw. I think all possible, the worst scenarios are probably already priced in. I think the market did expect here some sort of a interest rate increase. We will know more about that later. I think generally, however, a lot of experts believe that the interest rate decision will be moved out a little bit. So, I mean, the actual execution of an interest rate increase will be moved out a little bit, possibly to later this year. And maybe that could give it another boost here, the markets. We'll see. It all depends on what is really priced in, which I can't really tell you what exactly is priced in. But I think that some interest rate increase scenarios might already be priced in, and that any decision which will postpone that a little bit will might lead to a bit of an increase. And that's all we need for Bitcoin. We need a bit of an increase. You can see that here. We've been talking about this channel here moving up really towards the 39k. We need to hit the 39k to really hit the target area of that wave 4, and then it has done the minimum what it needs to do in terms of moving up, retracing in that wave 3 that you can see here, before we get a final sell-off. I still expect a final sell-off. You know, it's not guaranteed, nothing is guaranteed, but I would give it a very high probability. I think what we're currently seeing here is not impulsive. It is not anything generally that structure where we would want to build new all-time highs on. Here on the 4-hour chart, we can see that this channel really could take us to that target area. Now that would need to happen within, well, if we just follow it, you can see that we could reach it in the next 48 hours. Yeah, that's when we could reach it, maybe even a little bit less than 48 hours. So overall, we can see here, this is a channel. Call it possibly a bear flag here, and it should break to the downside with a higher probability, but I'm waiting here for us to reach the the target area before we have that final sell-off, and then I'm happy for it to break to the downside. But then you already have a very long channel here. Maybe it doesn't last that long, maybe it doesn't stay in the channel, could be a bit of a fake out to the upside. Then we've already reached the target area anyway. All we need now is just a bit of a fake out here to the upside. That could be just a 4% increase. I think that sounds very realistic, but it does need to reach it. It does need to reach it in order to validate that pattern here or that wave count, and then we get the final sell-off. Everybody who's new on the channel, what I'm looking at here is an ABC correction for Bitcoin, where the wave B here was just an overshooting wave B of a correction. Yeah, so you came up all the way to a larger wave 1, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern back in the early quarter in 2021. The first quarter came down in a wave A, up in a wave B, and down here in a final wave C, where we will get a final sell-off below the wave A low, which was sitting pretty much at 29k, just slightly lower, I think 28.7, and I would expect a support there, a very strong support, before we then move down lower. I also expect a support at 30k, because that is just a psychological level like the 40k. As you can see here, we have the red line here. There was a lot of support at 40k and resistance as well, and that is why I would expect in any move up now that at the 40k level, or maybe a little bit higher, I think the support was a little bit higher generally. It's pretty much a zone anyway. That here I would expect some resistance. If we do more than just the minimum for that wave 4, then I think at around 40k, 41k in that zone, you will find a lot of resistance. And that could then be the resistance that we will need for us to push down here, where some people will short, some people will go too long. Maybe there will be a bit of a faker to the upside here. People will go long already, buy in, think it will go up now, and then the market makers are going to short it, and it's going to go down into that area here. Pretty much what we saw back here in this wave 4 on the 21st of January. What is Cardano doing? Cardano, I showed you that yesterday on the chart here. You can see the red line here, doing a bullish divergence on the chart, which is fantastic. I had a comment in the description. Thanks for that. I think there was a bullish divergence in October 2019. Could be, because yesterday I said that I do not see any bullish divergence on this chart, that no real bullish divergence on the chart where throughout the whole chart history, which is great. Yeah, there is a bit of a bullish divergence here, which is great. Also in October 2019 we saw one, and after that at some point we saw some price increases. Yes, there was another sell-off, and then okay. But generally what I wanted to say really is that throughout this whole chart history, a bullish divergence on the Cardano chart has been very rare, and bullish divergence, as you might know, generally a good sign for possible price increases. Doesn't mean the price couldn't drop even lower, but it's a good sign, again, confirming a potential end of the correction. That's what I expect anyway. Yes, the prices can drop a little bit more, and maybe they could even drop to 55 cents, and that would be a whopping 50% drop for Cardano, but they don't need to, because Cardano already came down here to the 61.8 Fibonacci level at 96.7 cents. We're holding above that. We're also holding above the dollar. But yeah, another drop is certainly possible. Maybe it would even invalidate that bullish divergence. So it's only one indicator. Don't forget that. It's only one indicator. But of course, if I see anything in the charts that I find interesting, I point it out to you. And given the fact that given the assumption that Bitcoin could drop once more, I think Cardano can drop once more. We could lose these 90 cents, the red line here, which provided support here already before a few times. With a Bitcoin drop, we can certainly fall to that level. But as I said before, if we lose that, I think you're going to see here a potential 55 cent Cardano. So the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level. Here then the price has a good chance to turn around. It would be much more of a sell-off than I initially expected for Cardano. I had a different wave count on the chart, a little bit like what I had for Ethereum as well. But even then for Ethereum as well, it was just more bearish than many people were anyway. At least we talked about a correction. Now that did go lower than expected for these two cryptos. Bitcoin pretty much, we've been talking about this 30k scenario or 29k scenario since I think end of November. Yeah. Cardano as well, but I did always expect Cardano to turn around here above $1.25, which didn't happen. Yeah, there was a strong reaction to the Fib level down there, but it did drop in the end. And yeah, I think now we are in this different wave count that I explained in the last video. ABC, pretty much Bitcoin's wave count. And here I would expect in the event of a Bitcoin large sell-off, another drop. And in that case, I guess that bullish divergence wouldn't mean that much. Yeah, but I pointed out that you can see that bullish divergence on the 2-day chart, can even see it on the 4-day chart. And on the 1-day chart, that is actually quite important to point out. But the MACD isn't turning around yet. And bear in mind, it's only one indicator. It's always important to take the full picture into account. And at the moment, the chart does not look like it, that it's going to turn around here immediately. We can't really see a move up. I'd love to see here a break above this descending trend line, for example. But as I said, as soon as I see something, I will make you aware. Currently, I'm accumulating ADA because I find the price is generally very, very attractive. Even if we drop once more, I think we might not necessarily be in that area down here very long. And after the correction, which I can't really tell you how long that's going to take, my view is it could be end of Q1. Then we're going to see prices that could go up to over the 1.618 extension level. But I would expect more here of a 200% or 2.618 extension level of around $6.52. All right, hopefully you liked the update about Bitcoin and Cardano. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.